Today on the show, it's me, Faust from It's Super Effective, and we are going to be talking about the history of Suicide Squad's Enchantress. So June Moon would first appear in Strange Adventures 187 in 1966. And June Moon isn't the Enchantress, and the Enchantress isn't June Moon, and you'll understand what I mean by that in a little bit. So June Moon was a freelance artist, and one night she would be invited to Terra Castle for a party, and she would go along, have a good time, and eventually find a secret chamber, and inside the secret chamber was a being called Zamor, and he gives her the ability to change into the Enchantress. So by saying the words, the Enchantress, she gained dark hair, green eyes, and the ability to use magic. From this point onwards, you would just have kind of like campy Silver Age adventures, like stopping robbers, or freeing Terra Castle of Evil, or stopping a monster. She wouldn't do anything that big or that important. The 80s would come about and Amanda Waller would hire the Enchantress to work on the Suicide Squad. We wouldn't actually know why she joined the team because she had nothing to gain from it. The first mission was to go to Mount Rushmore and stop Brimstone, and all is going well until it turns out that when Enchantress uses too much of her magic, she overloads and turns evil, and she tries betraying the team and has to be knocked out by Bronze Tiger. So it turns out the reason June joined the squad is because Amanda Waller told her that if June joined the squad, she would help her control her evil Enchantress half. And this doesn't exactly go well. Waller just places June into therapy, which honestly doesn't make much sense to me because she's got a magical being in her mind. How is therapy going to help? The therapist diagnoses June with schizophrenia, and obviously this doesn't do much. June would say, no, every time the Enchantress comes out, I have to hold back the evil and it uses all of my energy. And the evil side of the Enchantress would come out and basically say that every time that she does come out, she becomes more and more powerful, and eventually there won't be anything of June left. Even with this in mind, she is sent to Moscow on a covert mission. She tries betraying the team and has to be knocked out by Deadshot. She is finally taken to the right person, Madame Xanadu, and Xanadu takes one look at June and says, "You had no experience with magic before gaining the Enchantress, did you?" Turns out that when a magic user uses magic, they have to put a protective aura around themselves to stop evil influences coming their way. June had not been doing this. Because she hadn't been doing this, it twisted the Enchantress being into a monster, which is why she was now evil. June is given a protective ring and a necklace to help control the Enchantress, but if the Enchantress ever broke free, like that would be it. Everyone would be screwed. And then the Enchantress broke free and June had to be knocked out. The Enchantress would be ripped from June by the Incubus, and then we wouldn't hear from June or the Enchantress again for 11 years. No explanation given. They just disappear. And the next time we see them, they're back together, so it doesn't make much sense. The next time we actually see them though, the Enchantress is sacrificed by Faust to reignite the fires of hell. This puts June in a catatonic state and she has to go to an insane asylum. Faust would take June outside of the insane asylum and reunite her with the Enchantress, who actually turned out to be a succubus. When the two of them are reunited, they become a whole new entity called Soul Singer. This was only temporary though, and they'd eventually just become the Enchantress again. In the build-up to Final Crisis, the Enchantress and several other magic users would create Shadow Pact. They did this because the Spectre had gone insane and was going around killing magic users, and obviously magic users kind of have to defend themselves. Enchantress was more of a support type character in this position. She'd do things like tap into Eclipso's mind to find out the enemy's plans, or at one point she's channeling everyone on Earth's energies into Captain Marvel so he can fight the Spectre, but this overloads her and she turns evil and Blue Devil punches her to knock her out. Naturally, at the end of everything, she would help defeat the Spectre, and Shadow Pact stay together. Their first official mission as a team happens when River Rock is trapped in a giant bubble of blood. They go inside the bubble of blood, and it turns out that a group there, called the Pentacle, are actually trying to sacrifice the entire town to bring back the Sun God. Shadow Pact do save the day, but before they're able to, 32 people die. And upon exiting the outside world, because of all the magic that mixed together in their battle, the rest of the world think Shadow Pact have been dead for a year. Later on, she would take on an apprentice called Laura Fell, who was actually the Warlock's daughter. And it was kind of an interesting situation because Laura was not very good at magic, and together they open up a portal to the Nightshade dimension, and this lets out the Unbound. But this is kind of good because this is actually where a few members of Shadow Pact were being held, so they're able to go into the dimension, save their friends, exit, and stop the Unbound. So everything was great, fine and dandy, and then the New 52 would happen. In the New 52, the Enchantress has been sadly underused, but I can kind of understand why, because in the New 52, they've been kind of setting a limit on how powerful everyone is, But the Enchantress, by her very nature, is a stupid powerful magic user. Like, she is supposed to be the best of the best. She was present in the first run of Justice League Dark, and that is when we saw the Enchantress's power. June Moon and the Enchantress had been separated by Madame Xanadu. The Enchantress was going on a rampage wanting to reunite with June Moon, but obviously this couldn't happen. But John Constantine eventually does a spell to reunite the two of them. After this, we haven't actually seen much or anything of June, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, no, we haven't seen anything of her. I really like June. I'm excited to see her in the Suicide Squad movie, while simultaneously being sad that we're not getting a true adaptation of the Enchantress, you know, of like a big witch's hat and all the robes and everything. Instead, we're getting a character that kind of looks weirdly like Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean, which I'm not sure how I feel about. I understand though that all the robes and the witch's hat doesn't really fit the aesthetic that they're going for with the Suicide Squad movie, but I do think the traditional Enchantress outfit would fit perfectly in with the Supergirl TV show. So maybe the Enchantress could appear as a good guy or a bad guy in Supergirl season 2, or in the later half of season 1, with a really, really big witch's hat and robes and everything. That would make me very, very happy.
It's super effective!
Okay guys, that is it for today. So what do you think of the Enchantress? Let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from Benny, but also don't forget to come on over to my channel, It's Super Effective, for more videos on comics and cosplay. But for now, my name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.